Let me tell you something right now. Being nice will never take you where you want to go. Being nice will not earn you respect. It will not make people value you more. And it certainly will not get you what you deserve. Nice? Nice is just another word for being afraid to stand up for yourself. Being nice isn't the same as being respected. And that distinction is critical to understand. Many people, particularly women, are conditioned to believe that being nice is the key to winning favor, earning respect, and fostering harmony in relationships. But here's the hard truth: niceness, on its own, rarely commands the kind of respect that leads to lasting, meaningful connections or professional success. Niceness often operates as a surface-level behavior, while respect is something deeper, something earned through self-assurance, boundaries, and integrity. Being nice often involves avoiding conflict, saying yes when you mean no, or staying quiet when something bothers you, all in the name of keeping the peace or being liked. It's about presenting yourself as agreeable and accommodating, even if it comes at the expense of your own feelings or values. While it may make others feel comfortable in the short term, it can create resentment and leave you feeling unseen and undervalued. Niceness can inadvertently communicate that your needs and opinions are secondary, which may lead people to take you for granted. Respect, on the other hand, comes from authenticity and strength of character. It's about being true to yourself, even when it's uncomfortable or unpopular. Respect means standing firm on your values, expressing your opinions with clarity, and setting boundaries that protect your emotional and mental well-being. It's not about being agreeable for the sake of approval. It's about being honest and steadfast. When you prioritize respect over niceness, you show the world that you value yourself, and that sets the tone for how others will value you as well. The irony is that while being nice may seem like the easier path, it often leads to more challenges in the long run. People who prioritize being nice above all else often find themselves feeling overlooked, used, or dismissed. They may attract relationships, personal or professional, where their needs are not prioritized because they've taught others to expect compliance instead of mutual respect. The effort to avoid conflict or make others happy can backfire, leaving you feeling depleted and unfulfilled. Respect requires a different kind of energy. It requires courage, the courage to say no when it's necessary, to voice your needs without fear, and to walk away from situations or people that don't honor your worth. It requires vulnerability to show who you really are, and the confidence to believe that the right people will respect you for it. Unlike niceness, which seeks to please others, respect seeks to uphold the dignity of both yourself and those you interact with. The truth is, respect and kindness often go hand in hand, but respect doesn't always look nice sometimes. Respect looks like a firm boundary, an honest disagreement, or a difficult conversation. Sometimes it looks like choosing your well-being over someone else's temporary comfort. And that's okay, because the people who truly matter, the ones who value your strength and authenticity, will respect you for it. Respect is lasting, niceness is fleeting. Choose wisely. Kindness is often misunderstood. Many equate it with being agreeable, passive, or endlessly accommodating, but true kindness is anything but weak. It takes strength to be kind. Kindness comes from a place of security, confidence, and empathy, while niceness often stems from insecurity or a desire for approval. The difference lies in intention and impact. Kindness is rooted in authenticity and respect, whereas niceness can sometimes mask fear, self-doubt, or a reluctance to confront uncomfortable truths. Kindness is a deliberate choice to act with consideration and compassion, even when it's not easy. It doesn't mean avoiding hard conversations or sugarcoating the truth. It means approaching situations with integrity and care. A kind person can deliver criticism when necessary, but they do so in a way that builds others up rather than tearing them down. Kindness seeks to contribute positively to relationships, fostering growth, understanding, and mutual respect. It's a sign of emotional maturity and strength because it requires self-awareness and the ability to balance your needs with the needs of others. Niceness, on the other hand, often prioritizes appearance over authenticity. A nice person may avoid speaking up about their feelings, withhold honest feedback, or say yes to things they don't want to do simply to maintain harmony or avoid conflict. This behavior may seem polite on the surface, but it often comes at a cost both to the person being nice and to their relationships. Niceness can lead to resentment, frustration, or feelings of being taken for granted because it prioritizes short-term peace over long-term respect. Where kindness is courageous, niceness can be timid. Niceness often stems from a fear of being disliked, rejected, or seen as difficult. It seeks validation and approval, which can make it a form of self-protection rather than a genuine expression of care. When people are overly nice, they may suppress their own needs or opinions to keep others happy, which can lead to imbalance and a loss of authenticity in their interactions. Over time, this can weaken relationships as niceness lacks the honesty and depth required to build genuine trust and connection. Kindness, however, doesn't shy away from the truth. It understands that honesty, even when uncomfortable, is sometimes the kindest thing you can offer. Being kind means respecting yourself and others enough to have boundaries, say no when needed, and hold people accountable when necessary. It's not about being agreeable all the time, it's about being real, intentional, and considerate in how you treat others while maintaining your own dignity. Ultimately, kindness and niceness differ in their motivations and outcomes. Kindness is proactive and empowering, creating space for growth and respect. Niceness, while well-intentioned, can be reactive and self-sacrificing, leaving people feeling unfulfilled or undervalued. True strength lies in choosing kindness not as a way to gain approval, but as a reflection of your values and your inner strength. It takes courage to be kind in a way that's honest and genuine, and that courage is what separates kindness from mere niceness. Knowing the difference between self-respect and people-pleasing is one of the most important lessons you can learn. At first glance, the two can seem similar. Both involve being considerate and interacting with others in a way that fosters relationships. However, they come from entirely different mindsets, and the outcomes they produce are worlds apart. Self-respect is rooted in valuing yourself, while people-pleasing is about seeking validation and acceptance from others, often at your own expense. Self-respect means holding yourself in high regard and treating yourself with dignity. It's about recognizing your worth and refusing to compromise it for the sake of others. When you have self-respect, you understand that your needs, opinions, and boundaries matter just as much as anyone else's. This doesn't mean you disregard others, it simply means you refuse to diminish yourself to please them. Self-respect allows you to say no when something doesn't align with your values or priorities, even if it might disappoint someone else. It's the foundation of healthy relationships because it establishes mutual respect as the standard. People-pleasing, on the other hand, is often driven by a fear of rejection or conflict. It's the need to make others happy, even if it means sacrificing your own happiness or well-being. People-pleasers frequently put others' needs ahead of their own, not out of genuine generosity, but because they feel obligated to earn love, approval, or a sense of belonging. This behavior can lead to a pattern of overcommitting, suppressing your feelings, and tolerating disrespect, all in the hope of being liked or accepted. The problem with people-pleasing is that it often backfires. When you prioritize others' happiness at your own expense, you send a message, whether intentional or not, that your needs are less important. Over time, this can lead others to take you for granted or fail to respect your boundaries because you haven't demonstrated that those boundaries exist. Even worse, people-pleasing can erode your self-esteem. When you constantly put others first, you may start to feel invisible or unimportant, as though your value is tied solely to what you can do for others. Self-respect, in contrast, fosters empowerment. When you respect yourself, you set clear boundaries and communicate them confidently. You don't feel the need to over-explain or apologize excessively for your choices. Self-respect also means being okay with not being liked by everyone because you understand that your worth isn't determined by external validation. It's about showing up authentically, even if that means facing discomfort or criticism. The distinction between self-respect and people-pleasing boils down to intention and balance. Self-respect is about honoring yourself while maintaining healthy connections with others. People-pleasing is about abandoning yourself to gain approval. The former builds confidence and attracts meaningful relationships based on mutual respect. The latter drains your energy and leaves you feeling unfulfilled. Choosing self-respect over people-pleasing isn't always easy, but it's essential for building a life that reflects your true worth and values. Setting boundaries is one of the most powerful ways to command respect in any relationship, whether it's personal, professional, or social. Boundaries are not about being selfish or shutting people out. They are about creating a healthy balance where your needs, values, and limits are honored alongside those of others. Without boundaries, you risk overextending yourself, feeling disrespected, and losing sight of your own self-worth. When you set boundaries, you establish a framework that teaches others how to treat you, and this framework is rooted in self-respect. At its core, setting boundaries is about recognizing your limits and communicating them clearly. It's understanding what you are willing to tolerate and what you are not. Too often, people hesitate to set boundaries out of fear of being seen as difficult or unkind. But the truth is, boundaries are not about pushing people away. They're about ensuring that your relationships are built on mutual respect and understanding. A person who respects you will not be offended by your boundaries. They will appreciate the clarity and authenticity they bring to the relationship. Boundaries are essential because they protect your time, energy, and emotional well-being. Without them, you may find yourself saying yes when you want to say no, overcommitting to things that drain you, or enduring behavior that makes you uncomfortable. Over time, this lack of boundaries can lead to resentment, burnout, and a sense of being taken for granted. Setting boundaries allows you to prioritize what matters most to you and to protect yourself from unnecessary stress or harm. Communicating boundaries is just as important as setting them. It's not enough to know your limits. You need to express them clearly and confidently. This doesn't mean being harsh or confrontational. Instead, it means being assertive and direct without apology or hesitation. For example, if someone consistently interrupts your personal time, a boundary might sound like, "I value our friendship, but I need to reserve my evenings for rest and personal projects. Let's plan a time to talk during the day instead." Notice how this approach is firm yet respectful. It conveys your needs while maintaining consideration for the other person. Boundaries also have a way of revealing who truly respects you. When you set a boundary, pay attention to how others respond. Those who value you will respect your limits, even if it means adjusting their behavior. On the other hand, people who resist or dismiss your boundaries often reveal that they were benefiting from your lack of them. This isn't always easy to confront, but it's an important step in surrounding yourself with relationships that uplift and honor you. Ultimately, setting boundaries is an act of self-respect, and self-respect commands the respect of others. When you prioritize your well-being and communicate your needs, you send a powerful message that you value yourself and expect others to do the same. Boundaries are not barriers, they are bridges to healthier, stronger relationships built on trust, understanding, and mutual respect. Choosing authenticity over approval is one of the most liberating decisions you can make. It means prioritizing your true self over the desire to fit in, please others, or conform to expectations. Authenticity is about living in alignment with your values, beliefs, and emotions, even when it's uncomfortable or unpopular. Approval, on the other hand, often involves suppressing parts of yourself to gain acceptance from others. While approval may bring short-term validation, authenticity leads to long-term fulfillment and self-respect. Being authentic requires courage. It's not always easy to show up as your true self, especially in a world that often pressures people to conform. The temptation to seek approval can be strong because it feels safe. It's easier to go along with the crowd, say what you think others want to hear, or avoid expressing your opinions to keep the peace. But the cost of approval seeking is high. When you prioritize external validation, you risk losing touch with who you really are. Over time, this can lead to feelings of emptiness, dissatisfaction, and a sense of not truly being seen or understood. Authenticity, in contrast, is about being unapologetically yourself. It means embracing your strengths and owning your flaws. It's about expressing your thoughts and feelings honestly, even if it means standing out or facing criticism. Authenticity isn't about being perfect, it's about being real. When you choose authenticity, you attract people who value you for who you truly are, not for the version of yourself you present to gain their approval. This creates deeper, more meaningful connections because they're built on truth and mutual respect. Living authentically also brings a sense of freedom. When you stop chasing approval, you release yourself from the exhausting cycle of trying to meet everyone else's expectations. You no longer feel the need to hide parts of yourself or mold your personality to fit in. Instead, you give yourself permission to be fully present, fully you. This doesn't mean you'll always get it right, but it does mean you'll live with integrity, and that's worth far more than fleeting validation. Choosing authenticity over approval doesn't mean disregarding others' feelings or being insensitive. It's about balancing honesty with kindness. You can be authentic while still being considerate, but the key is not to compromise your values or identity to make others comfortable. Approval seeking often involves self-sacrifice, while authenticity honors both yourself and those around you. The reality is, not everyone will like or agree with you when you choose to be authentic, and that's okay. True authenticity isn't about pleasing everyone, it's about being true to yourself and trusting that the right people will appreciate your genuineness. The irony is, when you stop seeking approval and start living authentically, you often gain a deeper sense of self-worth, and others are more likely to respect and admire you for your honesty and courage. In the end, approval is temporary, but authenticity is timeless. It's the foundation for a life that feels genuine, fulfilling, and aligned with who you truly are. Stop shrinking yourself to make others comfortable. This is one of the most important lessons in life, and yet so many people struggle with it. Shrinking yourself means downplaying your strengths, hiding your opinions, or silencing your voice so that others won't feel threatened, uncomfortable, or intimidated. It's the act of making yourself small to avoid standing out, to fit in, or to avoid upsetting those around you. But when you shrink yourself, you don't just lose opportunities, you lose pieces of who you are. The truth is, you were not put on this earth to live in the shadows of others. You have talents, ideas, and a perspective that is uniquely yours, and the world needs that. Yet so often people hold back out of fear. Fear of being judged, fear of rejection, or fear of making someone else feel inadequate. They tell themselves that it's better to blend in than to take up space, better to agree than to speak their truth, better to diminish themselves than to risk making others uncomfortable. But this way of living is not sustainable. Over time, it chips away at your confidence and leaves you feeling unfulfilled. Shrinking yourself for the sake of others does not help anyone, not you, and not the people around you. When you hide your true self, you deny the world the opportunity to benefit from your gifts and contributions. You also send a message that you don't believe in your own worth, and that can lead others to undervalue you as well. The irony is that the very people you're trying to protect by shrinking yourself might actually respect you more if you stood in your full power. Confidence inspires others, shrinking does not. Taking up space doesn't mean being arrogant or dismissive of others. It's not about overpowering anyone or seeking attention for its own sake. It's about owning your presence, speaking your truth, and sharing your talents without apology. It's about recognizing that you have just as much right to exist, to succeed, and to shine as anyone else. When you stop shrinking yourself, you give others permission to do the same. Your authenticity and courage can empower those around you to embrace their own strengths. Breaking the habit of shrinking yourself starts with self-awareness. Notice the moments when you hold back. Are you staying quiet in meetings because you fear being judged? Are you downplaying your achievements to avoid making others feel insecure? Are you saying yes when you want to say no because you're afraid of disappointing someone? Each of these moments is an opportunity to choose differently. Instead of shrinking, start showing up fully. Speak up when you have something to say, even if your voice shakes. Share your accomplishments without minimizing them. Set boundaries that honor your needs. Trust that the people who matter, the ones who truly value you, will celebrate your authenticity rather than feel threatened by it. You deserve to take up space. You deserve to be seen, heard, and valued for who you are. Stop shrinking yourself and start living unapologetically. The world needs your light, not a dimmed version of it, but the full, brilliant truth of who you are. Being direct doesn't mean being rude, yet this misunderstanding often holds people back from expressing themselves clearly and honestly. Directness is a skill, and when used effectively, it can strengthen relationships, improve communication, and foster respect. Unfortunately, many people equate being direct with being harsh, blunt, or insensitive, but this couldn't be further from the truth. Directness, when delivered with intention and care, is one of the most respectful ways to communicate because it values honesty over pretense. Being direct means saying what you mean in a clear, straightforward manner without leaving room for confusion or misinterpretation. It's about addressing issues or expressing your needs with clarity and purpose. This doesn't mean disregarding the feelings of others. In fact, true directness often takes into account how your words will be received. It's not about being abrasive or critical. It's about being honest and solution-oriented while maintaining respect and kindness. Rudeness, on the other hand, lacks consideration and empathy. A rude comment seeks to demean or hurt, often coming from a place of frustration, anger, or carelessness. Being direct is the opposite. It's about fostering understanding and resolving issues without unnecessary drama or miscommunication. For example, telling a colleague, "I need this report by the end of the day to meet our deadline," is direct. It's clear, actionable, and leaves no room for ambiguity. Saying, "Why are you so slow with your work? I need this now," is rude. It adds unnecessary judgment and emotion that can harm the relationship. Directness requires confidence and emotional intelligence. It's not always easy to be honest, especially in situations where confrontation is involved. However, avoiding direct communication often creates bigger problems in the long run. When you're indirect, you risk being misunderstood or leaving others guessing about your intentions. This can lead to frustration, resentment, or inefficiency, whether in personal relationships or professional settings. Being direct also demonstrates respect for yourself and for others. It shows that you value your time, energy, and boundaries enough to communicate them clearly. At the same time, it respects the other person by giving them the information they need to act or respond appropriately. You're not playing games or expecting people to read your mind. You're being upfront and transparent, which fosters trust and mutual understanding. One of the keys to being direct without being rude is your tone and delivery. Speak calmly and assertively, not aggressively. Use I statements to express your needs or feelings rather than accusing or blaming. For example, instead of saying, "You're always late, try, I feel frustrated when meetings start late because it disrupts my schedule." This approach is clear and direct, but it also acknowledges your feelings without attacking the other person. In the end, being direct is a form of respect and empowerment. It cuts through unnecessary confusion and allows for open, honest communication. When approached with kindness and consideration, directness isn't rude. It's a sign of strength, clarity, and respect for both yourself and those you're speaking with. Respecting yourself is the foundation for how others will treat you. It sets the tone for the relationships you cultivate, the opportunities you pursue, and the boundaries you enforce. When you value yourself, you communicate to the world that you are worthy of care, consideration, and respect. Conversely, if you don't respect yourself, it becomes more difficult to expect others to do so. People take their cues from how you treat yourself, making self-respect an essential starting point for building a life filled with meaningful connections and genuine respect. Self-respect begins with self-awareness. It's about understanding who you are, what you stand for, and what you need to thrive. It requires acknowledging your strengths, accepting your flaws, and being unapologetic about your values and priorities. When you respect yourself, you're not afraid to take up space or express your opinions because you know your worth is not dependent on external validation. This confidence naturally attracts respect from others because people are drawn to those who are secure and self-assured. Respecting yourself also means setting boundaries and enforcing them. Boundaries are a way of showing the world what you will and won't tolerate. They protect your time, energy, and well-being by ensuring that you're not overextended or taken advantage of. When you have self-respect, you're not afraid to say no when something doesn't align with your needs or values. This isn't about being difficult or selfish. It's about prioritizing your mental, emotional, and physical health. People who respect you will honor those boundaries, while those who don't may reveal themselves as not having your best interests at heart. Another key aspect of self-respect is taking responsibility for your life. This means owning your choices, learning from your mistakes, and striving to grow into the best version of yourself. When you hold yourself accountable, you demonstrate integrity and maturity, both of which inspire respect from others. Self-respect doesn't mean you're perfect or never make mistakes. It means you handle them with grace and a willingness to learn. Importantly, self-respect isn't about arrogance or placing yourself above others. It's about recognizing your inherent worth and treating yourself with the same kindness and consideration you'd extend to someone you admire. This self-compassion creates a ripple effect, influencing how others perceive and interact with you. When you respect yourself, you're less likely to tolerate disrespect from others, and you're more likely to demand fairness and consideration in your relationships and interactions. Ultimately, self-respect is a prerequisite for earning respect from others. It creates a strong foundation of confidence, boundaries, and integrity that others can't help but notice. When you carry yourself with self-respect, you set the standard for how you deserve to be treated. People are far more likely to follow your lead and treat you with the dignity you've already given yourself. Respect begins within, and when you honor yourself, the world will take note and follow suit. The right people in your life will value your strength, not your compliance. This truth is essential to building relationships that are meaningful, respectful, and fulfilling. Strength comes from staying true to your values, setting boundaries, and standing firm in your beliefs, even when it's difficult. Compliance, on the other hand, often involves giving in to avoid conflict or to gain approval, even if it means compromising yourself. While compliance may seem like the easier path in the short term, it rarely leads to the respect, connection, or authenticity that truly strong relationships are built on. When you show strength, you attract people who appreciate and respect you for who you are. These are the people who aren't intimidated by your confidence, independence, or assertiveness. Instead, they see these qualities as assets, and they celebrate your ability to stand firm in your convictions. The right people recognize that your strength doesn't detract from them, it enhances the relationship. They see your strength as a reflection of your integrity, self-respect, and courage, and they are drawn to that authenticity. In contrast, when you rely on compliance to maintain relationships, you often end up surrounded by people who are more interested in what you can do for them than in who you truly are. Compliance might buy you temporary approval, but it does so at a cost. Over time, constantly going along with what others want or expect can lead to resentment, frustration, and a loss of self-respect. Worse, it can attract people who seek to take advantage of your willingness to yield, reinforcing unhealthy dynamics where your voice and needs are consistently overshadowed. Strength is not about dominating others or refusing to compromise. It's about knowing your worth and being willing to stand up for it. It's about communicating your boundaries clearly and asserting your needs while still remaining open to collaboration and mutual respect. The right people in your life will appreciate this balance. They will value your ability to be honest and direct while still being kind and considerate. They will respect your boundaries and never see your strength as a threat or something to be diminished. It's also important to recognize that being strong may cause some people to walk away, and that's okay. Not everyone will value your strength, and not everyone deserves a place in your life. The wrong people may try to undermine your confidence, push your boundaries, or demand compliance to make themselves more comfortable. Letting these people go is an act of self-respect and a necessary step in making room for the right people, those who uplift, support, and respect you. The relationships that matter most are those built on mutual respect and appreciation for each other's individuality. The right people will not only accept your strength, they will encourage it. They will value you for standing firm in who you are, not for how easily you bend to fit their expectations. Strength inspires connection, trust, and respect, and with the right people, it becomes the cornerstone of every meaningful bond you create. Being nice doesn't guarantee respect or love, and this is a reality that many people often struggle to accept. The idea that kindness alone is enough to earn respect or affection can lead to disappointment and frustration. While being nice is certainly a virtue, it should never be confused with the qualities that truly command respect or foster genuine love. Standing firm in your beliefs, values, and boundaries is what ultimately earns the respect and love you deserve. When you constantly prioritize being nice at the expense of your own needs or values, You may find yourself bending over backward to please others. You might say yes when you want to say no. Ignore your own emotions to make someone else feel comfortable, or sacrifice your time and energy without receiving anything in return. In doing so, you may gain temporary approval or avoid conflict, but you're not building a foundation of mutual respect. Instead, you're allowing your identity and self-worth to become tied to others' perceptions of you, and that's a dangerous place to be. True respect comes from being authentic, not from appeasing others. When you stand firm in who you are and what you believe in, you communicate that you value yourself. This doesn't mean being rude, aggressive, or dismissive of others, but it does mean being clear about your boundaries and expectations. People who respect you will honor those boundaries whether they agree with you or not. They will appreciate your honesty and clarity because it demonstrates that you respect yourself, and they will treat you accordingly. The same applies to love. Genuine love, whether from a partner, friend, or family member, is rooted in understanding, trust, and mutual respect. Being nice doesn't automatically foster these qualities. Love is not something that can be earned by simply being agreeable or doing what others want. Love comes from being seen for who you truly are, your strengths, flaws, desires, and needs. When you stand firm in your authentic self, you allow others to truly know you. It's in this space of honesty and vulnerability that deep, lasting love is built. Standing firm means making choices that are aligned with your values, even when it's uncomfortable or inconvenient. It might mean having difficult conversations, setting clear boundaries, or letting go of relationships that are no longer serving you. It's about recognizing that you don't need to please everyone to be worthy of respect or love. People who truly care for you will accept and support you as you are, not as someone you pretend to be to gain approval. Moreover, being nice without a foundation of self-respect can lead to resentment. When you constantly put others' needs ahead of your own, you may start to feel unappreciated or even taken advantage of. Over time, this can erode your self-esteem and leave you feeling disconnected from those around you. However, when you stand firm in your values, you prevent others from overstepping your boundaries, and you create an environment where respect and love can flourish. In the end, being nice is important, but it's not the only ingredient in earning respect or love. Standing firm in who you are, prioritizing your own well-being, and setting healthy boundaries are the actions that truly cultivate meaningful and lasting relationships. Respect and love are earned through authenticity, consistency, and mutual appreciation, not through endless compliance. Stand firm, and the right people will respect and love you for the person you truly are. In conclusion, the key to building strong, meaningful relationships and cultivating a life of self-respect lies not in being nice, but in being authentic, assertive, and unapologetically yourself. While kindness is an essential quality, it should never come at the cost of compromising your values, your boundaries, or your true identity. When you stop shrinking yourself to make others comfortable and start standing firm in your strength and beliefs, you set the foundation for relationships built on respect, trust, and genuine connection. Being direct does not mean being rude. On the contrary, clear, honest communication is one of the most powerful tools for creating mutual understanding and respect. It allows others to see who you really are and what you need without the confusion that often comes from indirect or people-pleasing behavior. In the same way, being firm in your self-respect doesn't mean you're being selfish or uncaring. It means recognizing your worth and acting in ways that honor your needs, desires, and limits. When you do this, others are more likely to respond with respect because you're teaching them how to treat you. True strength lies in the ability to set boundaries and honor them. Boundaries are not walls, but protective lines that help you maintain your emotional and physical well-being while also fostering healthier, more balanced relationships. When you communicate your boundaries clearly, you send a message that you respect yourself enough to defend your needs, and you create space for others to do the same. Boundaries empower you to navigate life on your terms without fear of overextending yourself or being taken for granted. Choosing authenticity over approval and valuing self-respect over compliance will ultimately lead you to the right people who appreciate and support the real you. The right people will value your strength and authenticity, not your ability to fit into their expectations. They will respect your individuality, honor your boundaries, and celebrate your unique qualities. On the flip side, those who only seek compliance and approval are not the ones you want in your life, as they will drain your energy and diminish your sense of self-worth. It's essential to remember that true respect and love are not earned through being agreeable or putting others' needs before your own. They are earned through authenticity, confidence, and the ability to stand firm in your identity. The people who genuinely care for you will love you not for your compliance, but for the strength of character that comes from being real, transparent, and true to yourself. In the end, the most important relationship you will ever have is the one with yourself. By respecting yourself first, by standing firm in your values, boundaries, and strength, you set the stage for healthier, more fulfilling relationships with others. When you stop shrinking to please others and stop seeking approval at the cost of your own dignity, you free yourself to live a life of integrity, authenticity, and respect. And in doing so, you will find that the right people, the ones who value you for who you truly are, will naturally gravitate toward you, bringing with them the respect and love that you deserve. Nice doesn't change lives, nice doesn't inspire, but strength, truth, confidence, that changes everything. So stop being nice. Start being unstoppable. Thank you.